and welcome to That School Speaks. Today is Tuesday, April teen something. Oh, it's 14th because tomorrow is tax day. Know why I know? Because I just finished my taxes yesterday. Okay. Whatever. It's stressful when you're a small business owner. Sorry, there's like a strand of light that's showing through. That's annoying to me, hopefully. Now that I've pointed it out, it can also be annoying to you. Let's share joy. Sorry. So it's April 14th. This is episode 143, I'm thinking. And yeah, it was just tax day in the United States. Did you tax? Well, it's not quite tax day. By the time you see this, it'll be tax day. Happy tax day! So I'm a little bit exhausted. I know, it doesn't seem like it because I'm like, ka-ka-ka! But I may have just drank coffee and ate 3 Oreos. This episode brought to you by caffeine and peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter Oreos. So that combined with having the text, I was like, I know, okay, so I'm like mathy, and I had a job before where I did like a jillion things in Excel. So like I know how to manipulate numbers and I don't mean that creatively. I'm just saying I know how to move data around and compile data. And I'm like very comfortable with that. And secretly, I would kind of enjoy doing my taxes if it weren't for like the threat of being wrong about it. You know what I mean? Like, even though you feel pretty confident that you're doing it right, like there's still that looming doubt. If it weren't for that, if it weren't for the man, which is the whole reason for this anyway, but whatever. If it weren't for the fear of the man coming down on me, be kind of a pleasant experience, except for the fact that I do see how much money I spend on yarn every year. Because I literally go through and like categorize everything and break it all down. Like, oh, this is how much we spent on shipping, and this is how much it is, and zippers are this. And also, I will apologize. I just realized that my daughter probably will come home in the middle of this episode, or actually not in the middle, at the end of this episode. So if you see a weird blip at the end, that's why. What was I saying? Oh, so I actually kind of enjoy that part and because I don't have to do that stuff very often anymore. Yes. So it's kind of fun to be like, oh, but at the same time, it's very much like, I mean, A, you have to give them dollars, which is no fun. But B, just like fear. It's smashing my face. Hopefully I'm a very small potato and they won't bother me. I'm honest, but still, you just fear, right? It's the people who are not honest who are not afraid. Because they wouldn't be honest if they... They would be honest if they were afraid, right? Right. It's making me nervous. Anywho. That's enough about tax day. Oh, but do you remember... Okay, so... Not all of you who watch this are wee ones, but the wee ones won't ever remember this. But do you remember there used to be like lines to the post office on tax day? Do you remember that was like a whole thing? That like April 15th was a big postal worker day because we all had to submit our paper forms. There was no internet sending in this. That's a time that's gone now, I think. I mean, I haven't heard anything about a line at the post office. Although I don't live close to the downtown post office, so maybe that's it. But no, because it would be any post office. But yeah, when I lived in Cincinnati, that was a huge thing. The downtown post office would be like crazy. They had to have extra police officers there directing traffic. It was like a whole to-do. I don't think that happens anymore. Maybe a little bit, but I kind of don't think so. Just something. The Gratitude Cal is still going on. It'll run through the end of May. And I do have prize threads open, so if you would like to enter for a prize. The spinning prize will be spinning fiber. The other prize will be Yarny gift cards, but I haven't decided who to yet, but they will be exciting. I promise. Well, I would think they were exciting, so get on board. If you don't know what the Gratitude Cal is, I talked about it last episode. I won't bore you again. Shenanigans! I feel like that was just the taxes. I feel like there was something I was going to talk about. Shenanigans. Taxes. Yeah, just a lot of taxes. Some Minecraft. I don't play it. My kid does. some board games. It was tabletop weekend. Hope you enjoyed that. Love our board games. I think that's all. Up and coming shenanigans. I plan to go to the Fiber event in Greencastle, Indiana this Friday, I think. Diane, are you going to be there still? I think I'm going to go on Friday because it might rain on Saturday, and I'm really, really hoping that I can get my family to go to on a longer walk on Saturday. I know, Minecraft is a very tempting temptation pants. So anyway, I think I'm going to go on Friday, but I'm not sure. I think that's all. Oh! Forgot to mention my bag ladiness. It's kind of cold in the house. It's like, okay, it's like that time in spring where it's not really warm, but you're just pretending it is. So then you suffer a little bit. Whatever. Wearing my chili pepper hats by Susan B. Anderson. This is Crystal Blue Persuasion, Gail's art. This is her BFL sock. The orange is my yarn from when I was dyeing. And then I am wearing Paula Evan Feasley's. It's not sister, it's Ellison Bay. It's like it's one of the bays. What? This is actually one of my favorite shawls ever. And it's knit with hand spun. The fiber was, it actually may have been superwash. Anyway, it's by Into the World. It was when Diane of Knittables was doing her Downton Abbey sal. Okay, I think that's all the things I need to say. Oh, the other shenanigans are happening. Maybe I'll talk more about them next week, because hopefully I'll have more information. But I'm kind of going crazy about the garden. I resist so much because no other humans in this house except this human eat things that really grow from the ground. I know, right? I have failed my family in that I've somehow not managed to like coerce them into eating whatever. Just move on. I'm hoping, but by not beating my child down, that eventually one day she will like approach a love of the vegetable world. But oh, maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, so I always resist, and we also have like no light in our yard, and so I always am like, no, it's really not wise financially for me to go into gardening because I'm the only one who eats it, and like there are costs and stuff, and really, quite frankly, it just doesn't make a lot of fiscal sense. That one's gone out the window this year. So hopefully I'll talk more about it next week. I found this whole like fun thing about container gardening, which I always thought meant like rigid containers, which I was not really a big thing on. But there's these containers that you can make out of landscape fabric. By the way, I'm so on a list because I'm pretty sure they're used in the growing of the cannabis in people's basements. I mean, they're legit too. Not that that's not a legit. Okay, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I think I'm on a list because I've already had because when I dyed, I had to buy like a gram scale and like a bunch of flasks and stuff, beakers, not really flasks, and something else put me on I was convinced put me on a list. And now I'm buying like hydroponic things. They're gonna come and get me any minute. They're gonna be so disappointed, but whatever. Like, I don't know, there was just a lot of yarn in there. It was not what we thought. But anyway, they could like thermoscan our house. It's definitely not warm enough to grow anything in here. But so yeah, you make them, and then I realized that you could actually, so they're not terribly expensive, and of course, like if you're not using them, you could like compact them and store them over the winter. Like you could just dump all your dirt back into big beds. Although you gotta be kind of careful with that because, you're not supposed to, I don't know, I think if you put it in one big bed and then like stirred it up really good, it would be okay. Because like there's that whole thing we're not supposed to plant certain plants in the same place. You plant them every year because then all of the bugs get excited and then it's bad. But, so I'm not sure how that works. But either way, it's very exciting. Oh, and so I found out like you could actually just buy the fabric and sew your own. Shut up. I know, so I hope that works. That's my shenanigans of hope for the week that comes. I know, we'll see. Maybe I should actually talk about knitting or spinning. Okay, I'll do it. This week's episode contains knitting, and it contains shameless self-promotion. There'll be a shop update April 20th. Is that right? Yeah. No. Yeah. April 24th. Does that sound better? I think that's right. No, it's this Friday. It's April 17th. Oh my Lord. There's an ant crawling on the stool that I put my camera on, and it's making me very distracted. I know it sounds like it's just springtime there. Like, oh, let's explore. Anyway, April 17th. I apologize about all of those other dates. Those are not the correct date. April 17th, there will be a shop update, so I'll talk about that at the end. Okay, let's talk about knitting and spinning. I don't have any finished objects this week. Don't look down on me. I do have a half-finished object, though. Does that count for something? I think it does. I have a sock. And this is for my kiddo. It's just a plain old vanilla sock with just a tiny bit of ribbing because she is growing. We were just at the bus stop this morning. She has a pair of size 7 women's shoes on, sneakers. So I know sneakers sometimes I have to order up, but still. She's like, Mom, I think I need new shoes. Her toes are like right at the edge. Anyway, so I know, right? How stupid of me to make these socks like right before summer. But I was making them for myself, and then she saw them and was all like, "Rawr." And so I started making for her. But one of the things I did to do that is she has a super skinny foot. It is like an adult size, but it's narrow. I know, right? Just let's hope that she got her father jeans in that ballpark. So what I did is I made it a 60 stitch circumference. So it's a little bit wider than narrow, but I put some ribbing in there. So again, hopefully that'll allow it to still hug her foot, but give it a little bit more room as she grows. And then the other thing I did is I did them cuff down, and I did a really tiny toe. Now she has narrow feet and she has longer toes, but again, this is the theory is that when I have to rip them out because they're too short in a day and a half, that it won't be as much to rip out. Does that make sense? It made sense in my head. That's what I'm going with. This yarn is super fun, right? It is by Knitty and Color, and I apologize, I don't know what her base is because, hi, I'm a nutball. But it's a superwash nylon base, and this colorway is called Ain't It Fun? And let me just discuss. It's pretty darn fun. Can you see it? It's crazy. It's totally wackadoodle and fun. So, there's that. And I started the other one. Yep. Okay. So there is that. Okay, so then the next thing is almost done. I'm knitting a Samen. That's Samen, S-A-M-E-N, by Mr. Stephen West. Stephen with PH, okay? Ah! I just ripped some stitches off. It's fine. No, it really is fine. And this is a shawl. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I ripped off and what is, I'm binding off. This is a shawl made with fingering weight yarn that you hold double. And I talked about last week what I'm doing different with the colors, so you can just check that out if you're intrigued or interested. In brief, the whole thing is supposed to be, so it's fingering weight, 2 strands held together. And the thing is supposed to be all mottled, or what do we call that? Brindled? That's not the word. There's a word and you're all yelling. I hear you, but like I can't hear from all the way over there. Anyway, so the whole thing is supposed to be marled. Haha, thank you. I heard you. See, it was you. Thank you. So the whole thing is supposed to be marled, like these sections are. But I really liked my colors and wanted some of them to remain distinct, so I did some solid stripes. Now, what this has done is made me run out of yarn. Like a crazy person. So out of yarn. Because I have like a whole bunch of this green and a whole bunch of red. Well, now I don't have red because I had to pick it up. But so I started running out. The blue ran out before I could do its marl stripe, second marl stripe. And then the gray ran out before I could even get the full stripe, so I'm doing some red on the bottom. Whatever. No, anyway, so there's that. I'm starting to bind off. And that's what it is. Yay. Sorry. think I inhaled like an alpaca hair. Okay, sorry about that. Knitting it on US 6s. So it's a relatively tight gauge for a shawl, but I didn't really want to, well, the gauge is actually not that, is relatively tight in the pattern. So I think, you know, that seems to be a thing. But also again, with it being such a big shawl, I didn't want it to be like ridiculously gigantic. Do you know what I mean? There's both a lace weight version and a fingering weight version. So I would really like to do the lace weight version and actually do it as written where the whole thing is marled. Just wasn't a great idea with my color choices, I didn't think. So hopefully next week I'll have that all blocked and ready to go. Which hopefully means that it will also be 80 degrees. Because I've just finished a giant worsted weight shawl. You know. So anyway, so by the time I get done, I'm going to have red left. And I'll have that bronzy kind of greenish color left. But then I used all my orange, all my navy, and all my gray. And if you want to know exactly what color, or excuse me, exactly what yarns I used, they'll be in the show notes. And I also did a project page to photograph up, but at least there is an actual list of the yarns. Okay, the other thing that you saw last week is I am knitting on the Neon Beast, which, not a ride at Kings Island, is actually a shawl by Vera Valimaki. So I am knitting mine with Madeline Tosh Twist Light. And it smells very vinegary. So the purple is geode. See, that's the cast on. Purple's geode, the yellow is winter wheat, and the gray is kitten. I'm so excited about this one. It's garter stitch, and this is the Madeline Tosh that they've just introduced that has nylon in it, and I would say it's a light fingering, and I think it's gonna be an awesome like air conditioning shawl. Oh, I hope I like the proportions because I really like them here. It's like the boomerang shawl, but it's a little deeper than a lot of them are. Like the Quaker Yarn Stretcher is a much more shallow, and like the Martina Bems and all that are also knit side to side, they're much more shallow. This one is definitely getting some body to it. Womp, womp. So yay that. And I love that they're solid stripes. Now this gray section I'm about to start on is going to kill my soul a little bit. It's a lot of gray, but it's still going to be cool. I'm excited. Okay, so there's that. I'm doing so good, I'm using all my project bags. All my own. I usually never use my own. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I often don't. Okay, so the next thing is something you haven't seen. And I actually need to look up, I'm so sorry, there is like a bit of alpaca in me. And my body is not terribly happy about it. I don't know how I managed to inhale it. Okay. So the next, and I apologize, I just had to look up the name of the pattern because I don't recall off the top of my head. Ma, this is boring for you. I'm so sorry. I thought I remembered it, and then I did not. Oh, is it not going to be on here? Okay, good. It's the Lattice, L-A-T, no, it's not. It's not the Lattice. It's the Lay Low, L-A-Y-L-O-W. And it is by Shannon Cook. So Lay Low by Shannon Cook. And it looks like that. So it requires 2 skeins of fingering, one for the body and one for the border. The border does not require a full skein, but... And I'm knitting mine with Miss Babs Northumbria. It's her 4-ply BFL. It's 100% blue face Leicester, 437 yards. And this is the colorway Zombie Games. I'm not into the zombie thing, but Miss Babs zombie colorways are really pretty. What is the other one? Oh, Zombie Prom I've knit with, and it was lovely. So anyway, this one's called Zombie Games. And here it is. So, it's got like serious yarn twisty up in this. So you can't really. Of course, they're all shawls on needles that are too small for them. But you can see, maybe, it has an interesting rate of increase, but it has this dropped stitch section right here in the middle. It's a paper pattern. It's kind of hard to see because it's so busy. Yarp. And then, yeah, that's all you need to know. So I don't know. I'm not sure. It gets wide faster than deep. And I don't know. We'll see how I like the shape of it, but this yarn is very fun. And then for the border, I'm actually going to use, and I don't know if I got this at SSK. I think I got this at Stitches Midwest, but I did get this at SSK. So I'm going to use this as the bottom border. This is from Wandering Wool, and she did the club, not the club. She did the goodie bag yarn last year for SSK. And so this is her Ossable sock. It's an MCN, and it's the Nashville Night colorway. So I think that'll be very pretty as the border. Right. As you can imagine, these are not my normal colors. This will be a gift, but I think it will be well received. Okay, that's all the knitting. Right. That is all the knitting. Yeah, let's talk about shameless self-promotion. If you're not interested, that's cool. I'll totally talk to you next time. If you are interested, let's talk about some shameless self-promotion. Okay. All right, so again, April 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern. I know that I just said the date, I'm like, is that right? Yes, April 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern. This will be smaller bags, and they're all very they're all quilters cottons, so that means they are all interfaced. Yeah. So there'll be 3 different sock bags. There'll be this like super awesome orange, which kind of looks like maybe your granny had an apron made out of it, right? Right? And then inside is actually the yellow of the same fabric. It's the yellow colorway. There's that girl. And then there's this gal. And it has a great orange interior. And then these. Oh, I love this one for some reason. I think it's, I posted on Instagram that I think the reason I'm digging it so much is because it you can kind of pretend it looks like garden plotting, like your garden map. That's what I think anyway. And it has a fun little pale yellow floral. So that's the sock size. Again, here's my own because I'm experimenting with a new way to make the sock size because while I like the size of them, I would really like the opening to be a little bit bigger. I still think it's very functional. Obviously people like it. But I would just like it to be just a little bit, just a little bit bigger. Because you can definitely get socks in there. It is bigger. Here's my socks. It is much wider, the opening, than a pair of double points. Certainly wider than you would be needing if you were using, what are those other things called? Circulars. But if you haven't noticed, I like bigger bags because I don't like to have to like daintily put something in. I just want to be able to like jam it in there. Do you know what I mean? And so I feel like I'm experimenting. I think I like this new style. It looks exactly the same, but there's one little bit of a difference. So I don't know. I have to practice with durability. I have to product test. I need my Consumer Reports people in here. So there's that. Okay, the next size is this, what I call the small wedge, which really should be called a medium wedge. They are great for a one. This actually has 2 skeins in it. It's just that shawl I just showed you. So it has the 2 full skeins in it. And it's very easy to get in and out. But medium wedge, small wedge, I call them small wedges, but maybe I'll change it. Right. And look, it's got a lime zipper. I don't know why I'm so tickled by the zipper. It's ridiculous. Now, the socks all have quilter's cotton lining. The rest of them I'm showing you are all going to have this traditional heavier weight unbleached lining. So there's this one. That's what Blip is going to pick. There's this one in case you need some green. Ooh. So those are the two. Medium wedge or small wedge, whatever. And then there's 2 large wedges. I know, right? I don't ever buy pink. I don't know what was going on. So there's some pink for you. And then also orange, which makes me want popsicles. These 2 together, it's like orange and raspberry popsicles. It's not in any way warm enough to eat a popsicle yet, but I want to. Yay. And I think they are actually a little bit more vibrant than they're showing up. That's probably pretty good. So anyway, there's all the packs. The large wedge is what I'm using for my 3 skein project, and it's very roomy. I have the 5 skein Saman, and it's too small for 5 skeins. Saman really needs to be in a sweater bag. Again, it'll fit if you like origami it in. I don't like to do that. Jam it in and go. So I think that's all. Totally. Okay. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you next time.